I glanced at Glory and forced a grin. Let me guess. That's just a really big gemstone and has nothing to do with all the spooky glowing bones, right? Glory shook her head. No, I think it's a direct cause, Blackjack. I resisted the urge to face Hoof. At her next words, I found that very easy. I think that's a megaspell chamber. A what? I shouted. Then I clasped my hooves over my mouth, but looked at the bones down there hadn't noticed it still. That's a megaspell. What idiot puts megaspells under a city? Glory nodded. I've seen diagrams in books. The spell matrix amplifies a spell essentially with every unicorn that's channeling the spell. The diamond is sort of a giant spark battery. It stores the spell until it's triggered, or the storage framework destabilizes. They don't usually last that long. Usually. She added with a curious look at the chamber below, which is why fully staffed bases like this had to be built. I frowned as I looked closer at the circle. I had seen something like this before, when I was inside Stonewing getting fused with the cockatrice. Over the glare, I could barely make out a magical symbol floating beside the huge diamond. That glyph is the representation of the stored megaspell's effect. Effect. I thought it was just that they went boom, I said with a little frown. Well, there were megaspells that exploded. The very first weaponized megaspells were ignition spells amplified by 1,000,000, like lightning, 1,000,000,000 candles at once. But there were tons of other megaspells developed that were a lot more insidious, like ones that were supposed to make every zebra in an entire city want a worthless rock to the point of killing each other, or one that was supposed to transform everything in its volume of effect into water. I understand that one megaspell was actually supposed to make every zebra effect swap sides and be loyal to Princess Luna. I shivered and thought, mass mind control. Yay. Glory gave me a wan smile. Better than killing them all, right? I wasn't exactly sure about that. Glory looked pensively at the room and for a few moments. This spell shouldn't have stayed stable for anywhere near this long. I think that when it started to degrade, it probably animated these bones, and they've been restoring it since. It's a feedback loop. Wow. I think I like the tunnels of Hoovington even more than Hoovington itself. We really should bring every pony down here for tours, I said as I backed away from the window, knowing that with my luck I'd sneeze and set it off. Don't be ridiculous, Blackjack. The place is too hazardous for... She caught my arched brow and smiled. Right. Could you please warn me when you're going to be sarcastic? She asked, hanging her brow and looking a little sheepish. Of course not. That'd ruin the fun, I said with a chuckle. Then I heard the faintest whir. For a moment, I thought it was just a fan of some sort working. But then a sharp-eyed pink party pony poked my brain and pointed at a camera no bigger than an apple set into the corner. And as I moved towards the exit, it tracked to follow me. Somehow I doubted that it was Spike. Over the next half hour, we'd come across 3 more megaspell chambers, but these were dark and dead. Their diamond cores had transformed into lumps of ugly gray stone. We'd also come across several more unicorn remains trotting around their business. One lot's horn fired pink disintegration bolts that nearly had me turned into a pile of pink goop. Another, to my infinite dismay, fired powerful magical bullets at me in a near-exact copy of my own signature spell. That just was not fair. And every camera we passed followed us. There was other fun, too. Protective ponies and turrets happily opened fire the moment they could target us. I had to admit, being attacked by a table was a little weird, but Glory had reduced it to emerald dust before it rammed into me. Neither of us could figure out how or why it had suddenly come to life. And finally, we came to what looked like a large control room of some kind. Ministry of Arcane Sciences Hoovington Megaspell Facility was written over a large emblem of a unicorn in profile against a starry sky. It had the same charred look as most of the place. Not melted, but definitely not what I'd call intact. A massive monitor covered one wall, the screen blackened and slightly warped but still displaying an image. A map? There! Look! That's Hoovington! Glory said as she pointed at a little moat along the river. To the east and south there were all kinds of other names, but few that I recognized. The entire map was covered in transparent blotches of different colors. Most were green or pink. Who marked up the map? I asked, with a smile as my eyes looked at the names. Canterlot, Manhattan, Philadelphia, Rome. Slowly my smile faded and my eyes widened as comprehension dawned. Megaspell targets. Balefire strikes. Gloria breathed softly. Not dozens, not hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. They crawled over the map like a fungus, peppering more and more the world than I could have ever imagined. In that map was reflected the insanity of two races unable to stop themselves from mutual annihilation. In that map were the deaths of tens of millions of ponies, zebras, and other creatures swept up into their conflict. What have we done? The little ponies inside me couldn't answer that. Blackjack! Glory! Rampage squealed as she charged into the room. A somber-looking Lacuna followed her at a much more sedated pace. We found a way out. Looks like it leads exactly to where we're supposed to go. I breathed a sigh of relief. Good. Let's get the others. Lacuna said softly in my mind. Shouldn't you do something about all that blood? Blood? What? But my words failed as I looked at my forehooves. The black material between the plates glistened wetly. Bloody hoofprints marked my passage perfectly. Fortunately, Glory was too occupied with Rampage's tale of fighting skeletons to have noticed. I forced a grin at the purple alicorn. Don't worry. It's not bad. It doesn't hurt at all. Not at all. Together we left the control room, the cameras watching us all the while. Meeting back up with P-21 and Scotch tape, I transferred what files remained on the terminal to my pip-buck so we could get out of here. We'd already spent far too long underground. As we moved back into the tunnels marked on Rover's map, I brought up the files. Hoovington Megaspell Factory. Status. Matrix 1. Discharged. Target. 114.5 north. 13.4 east. Gallows Crossing. Matrix 2. Discharged. Target. 119.1 north. 17.6 east. Redstone Trade Spur. Matrix 3. Discharged. Target. 103.9 north. 19.2 east. Gray Ridge. Matrix 5. Discharged. Target. 112.1 north. 4.5 east. Long Run. Matrix 6. Emergency error. Emergency error. Emergency error. Matrix 7. 5% charge remaining. Target not selected. Matrix 8. 100% charge remaining. Target not selected. I sure hoped that the one Glory and I had found wasn't the 100% one. I dropped to the next file. There was a lot more corruption, but I managed to find more little bits of information. Spell Matrix 5. Details. Refrigeration. Error. Data corrupted. Spell Matrix 6. Details. Combustion. Error. Data corrupted. Spell Matrix 7. Details. Come to life spell. Error. Corrupted. Spell Matrix 8. Details. Error. Data corrupted. Error. Data corrupted. The last bit of useful information was a simple list. 18.41.99 Hoofington Defensive Alert issued. Authentication, General Stormbreak. 19.5.23 Martial law issued for Hoofington Region. Authority, General Stormbreak. 19.15.10 Stabletech Emergency Broadcast issued. Hoofington Region. Authentication, Stabletech Vice President Scootaloo. 19.26.11 Readout Priority Evacuation issued. Authentication, error. 19.45.32 General Emergency Evacuation issued. Authentication, General Stormbreak. 19.50.54 Megaspell Release issued. Authorization, Princess Celestia. EC 1010. 1951.01 Spell Matrix 1 discharged. 1953.08 Spell Matrix 2 discharged. 1955.19 Spell Matrix 3 discharged. 1957.49 Spell Matrix 4 discharged. 1959.28 Spell Matrix 5 discharged. 1959.35 Hoofington Defense System activated. Authority, General Stormbreak. 1959-59. Emergency shutoff override issued. Authority, General Stormbreak. Error, 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 error. It looked like trying to raise the shield to save the city while firing off megaspells wasn't the smartest of moves. I could barely imagine the chaos. Trying to give warning, trying to fire back, trying to defend themselves from falling bombs. And something bad had really been brought here by the zebras. Some weapon that had killed every pony in the city. Or Sakashi was right, and an abomination from beyond the stars did it. Great. Now I really loved being down here. One thing was certain. The longer I was here around Hoofington, the more I wished that the Balefire bombs had destroyed everything. This place had too much creepy history that it felt like the city itself was just waiting to finish killing off every pony. Yes, that's definitely what it felt like. All of us, with the exception of Lacuna, were suffering from the radiation. It wasn't getting stronger, but it wasn't getting weaker either. Slowly and steadily it poisoned us with every little click of my pip-buck. Lacuna had another problem. Her magic was failing her. The screams were wearing on her. She could barely lift the minigun and had been forced to balance it between her wings. We'd finally found the subterranean factory. In reality, it felt more like a stable than anything else. There were dozens of small rooms interconnected by conveyor belts. The stillness of the place made me shiver. Rover was right. This place did feel asleep. I knew that Glory was excited by the idea of machines helping the wasteland, but I didn't want this factory running. I didn't know what it made. I didn't want to know. Every second we were down here, I felt more and more watched. Then we reached another large door, sealed up tight, and I swallowed hard as I looked at the map. It wasn't marked. Either Rover had forgotten, or what did it matter? The heavy door needed power to open regardless. Otherwise, it was just a lot of wall. A wall covered with a very large Robronco logo. All of us looked tired, despite the fact that we hadn't had much of a hard trip in the tunnels. We'd passed a few pony corpses, salvaged what we could from them, and continued on our way. The tunnels simply sapped our strength as quickly as the radiation poisoned us. Suddenly, there was a sharp pop, and Glory yelped as the reek of rotten eggs rolled across my nose. She dug out a healing potion. It wasn't just spoiled, but looked like a boiling ink inside of the bottle. Quickly removed our healing potions. Every single one of them had spoiled. Some of them apparently turning toxic. Not good.